Good afternoon. It's now past 1 o'clock, so we can get started. Just start off with opening remarks. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry, and when your item is called, each participant will be muted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. We have one member, Danny Bellissimo, here virtually, and then we have two members and myself, the panel chair, in person. And we ask that you mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the lands we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is now called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to the property, permissions to extend or alter lawfully non-conforming uses, and consents to sever the property to create new lots. Anyone who wishes to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Local Planning Appeal Tribunal, LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. We will call each item in the order listed on the agenda in the 1 o'clock time slot. And when you make your submissions where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with a presentation if required. If a very straightforward application and we don't have comments from city departments and area neighbors, we may just dispense with a presentation and go directly to asking questions and taking the matter into committee for a decision. On contested applications, and even on uncontested, each speaker, when they start off, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee, and Ms. Alderson, who is watching the clock, will comment, let you know when you're reaching 5 minutes, and we'll ask you to wrap up. When you address the committee, please state clearly your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. We deal with planning issues based on the variances. We don't deal with construction, drainage, or personal issues between neighbors. So in a contested application, the applicant or agent proceeds first, make a presentation to the committee, and please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if it's being substantially revised in order to ensure that the revised application is accurate, and then all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Once the applicant has made his presentation, then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Usually it's just the people who are opposed to weigh in to be registered to make submissions. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they finish their presentation, and when all the neighbors in opposition or with concerns are finished speaking, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut those issues that are raised by the neighbors, not to introduce new evidence, but just to zero in on those issues and questions raised by the neighbors. That would then mark the end of the discussion. The applicant is then taken into committee for a decision. And does anyone have any declarations of interest, panel or staff, on the matters in the 1 o'clock agenda? No? Okay.
So I would just want to let the members know, as well as the public who are participating, we're having technical difficulties with sharing the screen. So the members have everything that was submitted prior to the deadline to submit materials. So if any applicants are referring to materials, the members have it. We just can't share the screen online.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so the first application we're going to hear this afternoon is item number 1811 Redberry Parkway. It's a application for a detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 4 variances, and planning is requesting as a condition of approval that it be built substantially in accordance with the site plan on file dated June 24th. We have no other communication from area residents or from city departments. And we only have one registered speaker, the agent, Marco Vieira. Mr. Vieira, are you with us?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Okay, good afternoon. No comments other, you've seen the planning conditions, sir?
Yes, we have, and we've
Okay.
discussed our proposal with planning, and we're okay with that condition.
Okay, so, yeah, there's also forestry, urban forestry, condition number 3.
No issues with that.
Okay, so I don't believe we need a fulsome presentation from you, Mr. Vieira, on this application. Let's just see if committee members have any questions for you or for someone's ready to make a motion. We just have a look at coverage, some depth and length, and the north side lot line. Committee members, any questions for Mr. Vieira? Okay, is anyone ready to make a motion?
Sure, I'll give it a go. I find the application to be minor and meeting the 4 tests. I would therefore like to move approval subject to forestry condition number 3 for the cash in lieu, and subject to it being done in accordance with a site plan submitted June 4th, 2020.
Yep, me too.
Oh. Okay, sorry, June 24th?
Yeah.
I probably wrote it down too quickly.
Okay, so
We'll
we have
go
a
with
motion,
that.
a seconder for Mr. Comerick's motion. Ms. Alderson, all in favor? You have unanimous approval, Mr. Vieira. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you, good afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, the next application is item number 1922 Brook Tree Crescent. It's another application for a detached dwelling with an attached garage. There are 7 variances. We have a covering letter. We have urban forestry requesting condition number 1, and we have nothing else. No comments from neighbors or from city departments. And we have one speaker, the agent Daniel Ventruzzo, registered. Mr. Ventruzzo?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.
Okay, good afternoon. Sir, you're aware of urban forestry requesting condition number 1?
Yes, we are. We're fine with that.
Okay, otherwise, I don't believe we need a presentation on this. Let's just see if committee members have any questions for you, or if ready for a motion. Okay, if no one has any questions, is anyone ready to make a motion? Actually, the front lot line, why is there a such a just the nature of the lot, or what? Why are you so much closer to the lot line than 3 meters closer?
Yeah, it's the nature of the lot of the property, and then the 2 adjacent neighbors are actually, one is set farther forward, and the other property on the west side is set farther back, which gives us an odd setback for the front yard.
Okay, so you're sort of in between the 2.
Correct. We've actually tried to maintain the same location as the existing house, with the front of the garage, southeast corner being in the same spot.
Okay. Okay, does anyone else have any questions, or is someone ready to make a motion on this application?
give it a go if no one else wants to. I believe the application is minor and meets the Ford test, and therefore I'd like to move approval subject to forestry condition number 1.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamarick. We have a seconder for Mr. Kamarick's motion. Ms. Alderson, all in favor? You have unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Venturzo.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, were there any conditions on that one?
No.
No?
Yes,
Yes, sir,
forestry.
Yeah,
Thank
number 1. Okay, our next application is item number 20, 49 Mitcham Drive. It's an application for a 2-story rear addition in the rear yard deck and a detached garage in the rear yard. There are 12 variances. Yes, 12 variances. We have planning requesting a revision to variance number 3 and to refuse variances 7, 9, and 10. Transportation was asking for a deferral in order to revise their submissions. We'll deal with that when we speak to the applicant and the other people registered to speak on this. 47 Radlett is opposed, which I see is registered one of the speakers, sent in a letter. And we have comments from transportation. Again, they want a revision or a deferral. So registered to speak is Michaela Silva as the agent. And we also have the neighbors at 49 Mitcham, 47 Radlett, and 52 Mitcham registered, and I assume they're all on the line. Michaela Silva.
Hi, good afternoon, yes.
Hello. Have you seen that transportation in their correspondence to the committee
Yes.
is asking that this matter be deferred? Have you reviewed
yes.
that letter, and do you have a position on their deferral request?
I do have seen the letter, and I would like to take their recommendations versus taking the deferral. So I will take the recommendations to lower the deck, lower the fence on the northeast driveway, and also cutting the hedge along the north side property line, as well as cutting down the hedge for the other driveway on the southwest corner of the lot.
Okay, but they're saying that any proposed modifications to address the issues that they deal with or mention in their letter, that they say that has to be clearly shown on a revised site plan.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
So okay, Ms. Silva, sorry about that. So
That's okay. No
thank
worries.
you for confirming that you're willing to take the recommendations that transportation
Yeah.
is proposing, but they're saying that it has to be clearly marked on a site plan. So in order to do that, it looks like this matter will have to be deferred to allow you the opportunity to revisit that submission, address those concerns, make the changes to the revised site plan to the satisfaction of transportation services. And in the meantime, we have 3 people standing by with substantive issues on the application. So perhaps you can deal with that. We're going to have to hear from those people on the issue of the deferral being requested by
Okay.
transportation to see their position. Again, it's at your, until you get approval, you can't go ahead with this construction. So it's more at your inconvenience than at the neighbors. But we'll just have to go on record and ask them. So you're in favor of the deferral for that purpose. So let's now hear from the neighbors. 47 Mitcham, Mr. or Mrs. Tellis. Are you
Hi, I'm at 51 Mitcham.
at 51?
Yes,
Okay, they made a mistake on the sheet here. It says you're at 49. So you're at 51. Right.
I'm at 51, so my driveway is adjacent to their property.
Right. So I don't know if
And
you've checked.
my, go ahead,
I
sorry.
was saying, I don't know if you've checked the file, but transportation is written in a memo dated August the 31st requesting that this matter be deferred so that the applicant can make certain changes. You can to their drawing to address the issues of fence removal, garage relocation, hedge removal, all those things that you can go on that letter. So transportation is asking for a deferral, and I may have misunderstood. I'm going to go back to Ms. Silva. Ms. Silva, did you say that you're in favor of the deferral? We have to get
With the application, but hello?
Yeah, are we back to
Hi,
Ms.
hello?
Silva?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I was saying, no, I do not wish to take the deferral. I would like to continue with the application as is, but I would like to take the recommendations from transportation, and I'm aware that I will have to make modifications to the site plan and indicate those recommendations on the site plan and submit to transportation for their approval prior to the building permits.
Well, they're saying they want it done before before this matter gets approved. So we'll hear staff.
They're saying before.
Yeah, there's also the other issue, ma'am, if you want to proceed, because community planning, which I mentioned at the outset, and Ms. Alderson just reminded me, is also looking for a refusal of three of your variances and the modification of one of your other variances. So again,
Yes,
if you don't want to,
yes,
you don't want to
Mr.
go
Chair.
ahead with the, if you want to go ahead, I'm not sure because the fact that transportation
The
wants
thing-
that,
Mhm.
unless we make it a condition, then until that's resolved, you don't get your building permit. I'm not sure we can do that, Madam Secretary Treasurer. The applicant is saying that she understands and agrees with transportation's recommendations, but rather than defer the matter, she would like to proceed based, I assume, on that undertaking, and then to deal with that and perhaps have a condition that says that she wouldn't be allowed to get her building permit until she satisfies transportation. Is that a possible way of dealing with it?
It's too open-ended because it's what are their issues to resolve? They haven't asked for any conditions here. They're asking for modifications. Those modifications could impact variances.
All right, so the fact if they make those modifications, there may be further other variances triggered by those items.
They
So
will not be, there's no modifications to any variances if we go ahead with the recommendations from transportation, because it has to do with the fence being lowered and the hedge, and that's about it. Has nothing to do with the variances being proposed.
Okay, what about
And-
the
and-
planning?
and
What about the
planning,
planning
yeah.
issues?
I'm okay with that as well. I've actually spoken to planning, and we were going to submit revised drawings and a letter to the committee addressing those removal of variances, but it was too late. And so they recommended that I address those today at the hearing. And so we are okay to modify variance number 3 and remove variance number 7, 9, and 10 from our application.
Okay, so
As per the recommendation from planning, yeah.
so variance number 3, what would that revision, the modification be?
It will be, so from 0.47 meters to 0.9 meters.
Okay, so you're okay with those things, so.
Yes, I am, yeah.
Let's then hear from the neighbors, I guess. Okay, so we
Okay.
start now with Nelia and Robert Tellis from 51 Mitcham, right next door.
Hi, yes, so my driveway is adjacent to the property, and my whole concern is with the garage build.
Sorry,
The
we're getting some
height-
feedback. I don't know what's,
Sorry, I don't know why it's
Okay, it's maybe you're,
So the height, are you okay? Oh, maybe I'll just get rid of this.
no, I'm saying it's, are you maybe, maybe a little, you're a little too close to the microphone or some,
Okay, is that any better or no, not
anyway, a
really,
little
right?
bit. So I just,
Let me
yeah,
just
why don't you
lower.
proceed? So your
Hello?
concern, yeah, your concern is the east lot line?
Is the east lot line, yes.
Okay, so if you've been listening,
So,
so community planning has recommended or asked the applicant to delete certain variances being 7, 9, and 10, I think it is, which they've agreed to do,
yeah,
and to revise the variance number 3 and to make it 0.9 as opposed to 0.47. I don't know if that helps you
okay.
because it's gonna move it. So it's only a foot.
There's also 11. There's also the 11 and 12, the proposed height.
Okay, you're concerned.
And for me, the setback of the garage is a big concern for me.
This,
Like being only 2.58 meters from the sidewalk versus the
okay.
6 meters, that's the bylaw.
Okay, so your concerns are
And
variances 11
yeah,
and 12. The height, it's 0.27 of a meter higher than is permitted.
yeah.
Garage
I'm
and
not
12.
sure why you can't just go by the bylaw. I'm really like
Yeah, okay, we'll
concerned.
hear from the applicant on that. So those are your concerns. Does anyone have any questions?
And also,
Yeah.
I'm directly affected by the fence. So I've got money into that fence. So if it involves the fence coming down, I don't want that.
Sorry, you don't want that or you want,
I know I don't want the fence coming down
okay.
because then it becomes an adjacent driveway. And I don't know, I think it's going to bring down the property of my house.
Mhm. Okay,
The value of the property, it's going to come down.
Okay, because you're aware, you've read the transportation report, right?
Yeah, I'm actually, that is a big safety issue. It's already hard enough as it is backing out of my driveway with the hedge and all that. The fence I'm okay with, but now having another driveway and a garage adjacent is just not something that I want.
Okay,
I'm just totally opposed to the whole thing.
okay. Any questions, committee members, before we move on to the next speaker? Okay, so next neighbor is 47 Radlett. We have your letter as well.
Yes.
Sina Golkar,
Yes,
hello,
that's me.
welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very
Hi.
much.
Okay, so we have your letter.
Yes.
Okay, let's naturally. So where are you located in relation to the property? You're behind?
South of it. My property is south of theirs.
Okay.
And so I'm the one that is mostly affected by all of it.
Right.
They're getting closer to my property. The height is going to affect me, the setback, the height, the coverage, lot coverage, the odd shape of the whole building. It's just what it is. And then when they add something to the east of that, the whole thing is really hugely is going to affect my property, my light, everything.
Okay, and there are, as you said, 12 variances. I guess they're eliminating 3 of them. Any questions for Mr. Golkar? Anything else you'd like to tell us, Mr. Golkar?
Well, the only thing is, I guess I don't understand that one property is maybe allowed to have huge variances at the cost of somebody else's. Yeah. It's just completely unfair. I don't understand how it could happen. How could anybody ask for it when it's all at the cost of somebody else's? It's just defies the basics of bylaws or law.
Yeah, so your house is like sort of right next door.
Right next door, yes.
Like they're the corner house. And you're right, there are a lot of variances which we're going to hear because normally, you know, if you've been watching the applications, 12 is a lot of variances. Now you have to look at how minor or major the variances are, because sometimes when you're some types of the property, the built form or the location being on a corner leads invariably to greater number of variances, but there are, and you're saying 10 of them affect you. So does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
We'll go on to I think the next speaker is at 52 Mitcham, which is across the street. Okay, thank you, Mr. Golkar. We'll have the applicant respond to your concerns. So the next speaker is Jordan Hellier at 52 Mitcham.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Mr. Chair, you'd mentioned earlier that usually the feedback is negative, but I just wanted to, defy that a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I am the northern neighbor to the proposed 249 Mitcham, and I just wanted to say that I do support the project as proposed. I think it's in keeping with the character of the area. I think it's very respectful of the buildings nearby and in keeping with the overall look and aesthetic feel of the area. So I just wanted to say that I do support it as northernmost neighbor and wanted to note that to the committee.
Right, okay, and I see where you are at 52, you're across the street. Right across.
Exactly, right. We're the northernmost neighbor
Okay,
to them,
nice
yeah.
to see a neighbor coming up to support their neighbor's application in this case. Okay, committee members, so if no questions for any of the speakers thus far. Let's hear back from Michaela Silva to respond to the concerns of the neighbors at 51 and 47.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, before I go ahead and do that, I would like to note that the homeowners, I've had a chance to walk up to a few of their immediate neighbors who live on both Mitcham Drive and Radlett Avenue to speak about the project, and we've been able to gather 13 support signatures, which have been submitted to the AIC. So I believe that you do have access to that file, and you'll see, the different addresses from both Mitcham and Radlett of the properties of neighbors that do support our application. Okay, so, I'm grateful that this neighbor has called in to mention it, but we also have further 12 other neighboring properties that are in support.
Okay,
Now,
so
in
first of all, can I interrupt for 1 second, please? First of all, we don't have that in front of us because it must have been submitted late. So if you could please give me the municipal addresses, let us hear what the municipal address is. I will note that as you know, the most directly affected neighbors, 51 and 47 Radlett are the ones who are opposed, which is you have support from the neighbor across the street, Mr. Hellier. I'm sure you may have support, but we just need to, focus in on, you have to respond to the concerns that have been raised. There are, quite a number of variances. Was that a function of where where this property is sited and it's a corner lot? And just and respond to the issues that they've raised. That's what you have about what they've had to say.
Okay, so do you want me to go down the list of the supporting neighbors, or?
Well, just maybe read out the name. We don't have it before us, so just since you've told us, I'd like to pull up my location map and just make a note of what the addresses are. Sometimes the agents give us a little map and show highlighted in yellow which ones were in favor and which ones are opposed. But why don't you just quickly run through and tell us what those addresses? You said there are 13 of them, so.
Yeah, so it's 48 Mitcham Drive.
40?
48 Mitcham Drive.
Yeah, okay, I see that.
45 Radlett Avenue. 42 Radlett Avenue.
Yep.
38 Radlett Avenue. 36 Radlett Avenue. 33 Radlett Avenue. 43 Radlett Avenue. 44 Radlett Avenue. 50 Mitcham Drive. The called-in neighbor 52 Mitcham Drive.
Yep.
29 Mitcham Drive. 54.
Sorry, what was that? 29? It's not even.
No, not 100. 29.
Yeah. 29.
29 Mitcham Drive.
Okay.
54 Mitcham Drive.
50.
And 48 Radlett Avenue.
48. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, can you focus on, the neighbor at 47 is telling us that this negatively affects him to a great extent, and as well 51.
And 51, correct? Yes. Okay. So in regards to the proposed garage, She did mention some concerns in regards to the closeness of the garage to this rear yard setback. We actually are removing that variance, so that no longer is an issue. It shouldn't be an issue because we are removing that variance for the rear yard setback for the garage, as well as the eaves of the garage are no longer an issue here, we're also removing that variance. Now, she did mention the height. So I don't have any issues in removing the height variance, and that is variance number
11.
Yes, 11.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with removing that variance.
Yeah.
Okay, to appease the height. The other one, in regards to the location of the garage and whatnot. I mean, we are allowed, by law, to have a garage on the rear yard, and the location of where it is, it does conform with the bylaw, and I do understand, the issue with the sight line, and again, the fence that is dividing both properties. The fence is actually my my client's fence. So, and if we're not taking down the whole fence at all, we're just taking down, reducing the height of the fence to what transportation recommends is 0.85 meters up until the start of the garage. So from the start of the garage onwards towards the back, the south side, we're keeping the fence as is. So she's still going to have her privacy as she has right now. So I think that by lowering the fence, it will benefit number 51 as well when they're backing out their car, so they can have better visibility from MITCHAM, from any cars coming down on MITCHAM Drive. So I believe that by doing that, it does benefit both their sight line and our sight line.
Okay.
Okay, so that addresses her concerns, I believe.
Yep.
Now, in regards to neighbor at 47, he did mention something about the lights, but mind you, he's south-facing of us. So, if anything, he's going to get most of the light throughout most of the day. And not just that, but, his property is also located 3 meters, which is 10 feet from his own property line. And the addition that we're doing towards the back is 0.9 meters away from the property line. So we've made improvements to that variance itself. He did mention, I believe it was the lot coverage, in which the maximum allowed is 32%, and we're proposing 39% of the lot coverage. But the lot coverage has also to do, the decks also add into this coverage, and the decks alone, we have a wraparound deck around the property, which is a look that my clients have decided to, go with. But, the wraparound deck plus the rear deck, I know that adds to the lot coverage, so that's why it seems excessive. But, it goes with the look of the house. Now, the floor space index that he mentioned, I don't think it is too much of an ask. 0.5 times the area of the lot is what the zoning bylaw allows, and we're only asking for a 2.3% increase on that.
10 meters.
And so, so all in all, I believe that, with all the improvements we've made, and I believe that us removing 4 variances out of the 12, that makes it 8 variances in total.
Yep.
I believe this makes a much better, proposal. And it's a proposal like this, I believe it is desirable for the development of the land, and it is minor in nature.
Okay, thank you. So just to summarize, you've agreed to modify variance number 3 to 0.9. You've agreed to
Yes.
to eliminate or variances 7, 9, 10, and now 11.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, committee members,
Yes.
do you have any questions for Ms. Silva or any of the other speakers?
Yep. Okay, so currently the site has a single driveway,
Yes,
and you're requesting a second driveway on the site?
yes, we are. And that is because I can explain why. The one of the driveways leads directly to the one-car garage. Now the other driveway that we're proposing is much closer to the main entrance of the house, which is the street line. So the street frontage is closer to the access to the house, because my clients, they have two kids, so it is easier, to transfer the kids in and out of the car, on a daily basis. So that's why they would like to have that driveway there. And then, of course, we need a driveway for the garage, correct? So that's why we have that additional driveway. And I did speak to planning about this, as it was a concern of theirs. But then after speaking with transportation, they did say that, as long as we cut down the hedge and take care of the fence, so that the sight line is better for the motorists, that they are in support of both driveways.
Okay, I'd like to get a clarification from staff, because it's my understanding that you can't have a driveway that does not lead to a parking spot or to a garage. Yet that's what's being created here, but no variance is being triggered.
I know, I'm confused as well.
Traffic didn't mention that?
Mm-hmm. Well, a zoning review was done for this, and no variance came up for the additional driveway.
But it's clearly contrary to the zoning bylaw. You can't have a driveway that does not lead to a parking spot in the rear or to a garage. You can't have a driveway facing your front house. So to me, I was expecting to see a variance for that second driveway. There isn't one.
Okay, but can't. Okay. I mean, I'm assuming since it did not come up on the zoning review, it will not be a zoning issue in this regard, correct?
That's my confusion, and that's why I'm trying to get
Okay.
on that.
So we're going to go to zoning.
Okay.
I mean, I believe if we had done the deferral, those transportation issues might have been more fully addressed, but that I believe is the dilemma.
I just checked, the plans do match what was submitted to building for their zoning review.
Yeah, transportation in their memo did point out that they can't park sort of in front of the garage because they'll.
That's the other driveway.
Right.
The driveway
That's
that
the
I have
main-
issue
yeah.
with is the one that doesn't currently exist.
Yeah.
And transportation's comments on that were merely from a sightline perspective, saying that the hedge would have to be trimmed back for visual reasons. But transportation is not reviewing this application from a planning perspective.
I see.
They're only looking at it from a road safety perspective. And I question whether planning missed something here, basically.
Yeah. So we'll be planning and not transportation to identify that. The second driveway that. So it doesn't leave, they'll just.
I don't think.
Just leave the car.
Yeah, I was going to mention. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, no, I was going to say that I did have discussions with planning about this. I have an email back and forth with the person involved. And, she said she was going to get confirmation from transportation and see if this was an issue, in the transportation eyes. But they didn't say
Anyway.
that it was. So then, yeah.
we've spent a lot of time on this application. You said you didn't want the deferral, so we have to deal with what's before us now. And if something else is missing, then you'd have to come back. So what planning was requesting, or transportation was suggesting be done prior to bringing this application on for hearing, I guess, if approved, it's going to be subject to a condition that before you can get your building permit, you have to satisfy transportation. But I'm saying if it turns out, because as Mr. Comeric just identified, there was something else missing, then you would have to come back. So.
That's okay. And if that comes up, I'll remove that driveway if transportation, if that is an issue, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that helps, Mr. Comeric understands that if there's an issue, they would either remove that driveway, as opposed to having to come back.
So if planning has missed that, and in fact, that driveway, second driveway is not legal, you're willing to accept an application without that driveway?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If that's the case, then that gives me some comfort in trying to
Make a motion, yeah.
put together a motion.
Okay.
But just to point out, there are no recommended conditions from transportation services.
No, their recommendation
are.
that it be deferred in order to address all of those
Their
issues that they
concern.
have. So since the applicant said she wanted to proceed today, that would, I think was
The
implied even with
transportation
hers,
has
that she's gonna
multiple
do
issues.
that, and she won't get her building permit until she does that.
I know, but we've experienced difficulty in the past. Divisions do not want to clear conditions that they haven't asked for. So
Yeah,
in
well,
this
they
case,
have
there
asked
is no
they've asked for a
recommend.
deferral.
Yeah.
So. Right, but they've identified what the purpose of the deferral is for.
But it's an
The
either
applicant
or
saying she's willing to do
situation.
that, and to keep her honest, the issue is she wouldn't be able to get her building permit, which she's actually offered, in order to have not, and now that we've spent 20 minutes on it or more, we might as well deal with it.
I'd like to ask a question, clarification when it's time.
Excuse me?
Danny
Yeah,
Bellissimo would like to ask a question of the applicant when it's time.
okay, go ahead.
I'm curious about the application date here from the transportation was August 31st to the applicant. When were you aware of these deferral recommendations from transportation?
From transportation, I read the report on Monday. So yesterday.
Yesterday, but it was sent August 31st. That's the date of their, okay. So that's most unfortunate because it leaves us with a dilemma here because there are sightline issues and there's neighborhood issues from the neighbor about sightline issues and it's coming from the garage. I think it's unfortunate that these issues weren't dealt with between you and transportation before this meeting. So I'm not sure how to deal with this application at this point.
But I am willing to work with transportation and submit a revised site plan, so they can approve prior to applying for the building permits. We don't have no issues with that. And that also deals with the neighbors' issues of the sight line as well, because, you know, we share that fence. And so by lowering it, right, it benefits both of us.
No, I understand that's a technicality issue. Question of staff, is that possible? I thought you said we couldn't make motions like this, that we either have to accept the deferral or not. Is that correct?
Well, it's up to the committee if they want to defer. You've heard the application, so I'm assuming the committee didn't see merit in a deferral. The difficulty will be in clearing a condition that a division didn't ask for. And I'm not going to be able to help the applicant out when they come to me after saying I can't get a building permit because this division won't give me a clearance.
Yes, and that's what I'm pointing out. The technicality we have here is a problem in that we could make a recommendation, as the applicant is saying, that she will conform to what transportation asks, but we don't know what transportation is going to ask yet because the comment is not in numbers, it's just in generalities about sightlines.
It's not general. I mean, they're saying specifically
It's
what they
pretty,
want.
it's specific enough. I think it's specific enough, and I think we sort of, we had heard from staff, and we said, no, you know, when Ms. De Silva said she didn't want the deferral, she wants to go ahead, but she'll still deal with those issues. I think we all implied that we could deal with that as a condition and say that no building permit until transportation, I don't think they did identify this. It's not like we're going to them. They were actually expecting a deferral or asking for a deferral, so it sounds like they were prepared to deal with this expeditiously. And I think Ms. Silva will obviously be pushing them to deal with that so that she can then get her building permit and their clients can get on with their construction.
I mean, you're also talking.
Otherwise, we should have deferred this a half an hour ago.
Yeah.
So I'm reluctant to defer it now after we've spent all this time on it.
But we also have to capture the standard transportation conditions, which will require paying for the new curb cuts, et cetera. So how do we?
I do not have wording from if that's what Transportation Services wanted, they would have put it in their memo. They were not satisfied with this plan as it stands. So if you put a vague memo that says prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant shall satisfy all the concerns of Transportation Services, it's too vague.
That's right.
Anyway,
Well,
And it puts them in a
defer it
difficult
now.
position in being compelled to clear something that they haven't asked for.
okay, well, then, in my view, we have two options. Either we go forward with a recommendation to approve, subject to cutting back for the sight lines as set out in the transportation email and deleting the second driveway. Or we defer.
no, I don't think we can attach conditions because we know what transportation, like you say, there may be other issues like payment for curb cuts and whatever else. So again, very remiss to do this after spending so much time, but maybe, and I think we only did that because we assumed at the outset that was something we could have dealt with as a condition prior to getting a building permit, as Mr. Silva sort of offered. But if we can't do that, then maybe even though we've spent all this time, we then have to defer it. Otherwise, we're gonna have more problems.
Could I make a motion for deferral? I'd like to make a motion for deferral based on the fact that I find the information is not complete, and as a committee, we cannot make the proper decision. So as long as, I know we spent lots of time on this, but we'll spend more time if we don't just close it down at this point.
Yeah, that's what
And ask for deferral, and then we'll get all the details back again, and transportation will tell us then whether they're happy or not happy with the negotiation they make with the applicant. So
Motion for Mr. Bellissimo to defer. Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second that, and I'll add that when it comes back, it'll have much fewer variances because we're at least we're in the applicant's in agreement on what are the germane ones now.
Right. They've agreed to take out 4 and reduce one other. So hopefully when they come back, that will have been done. Plus we'll cleaner direction from transportation. Hopefully she'll work that out with transportation. Okay, so motion, seconded, all in favor? Thank you. Matter is deferred. We'll see you back here again. Okay, so next couple of items look like they're all sort of not opposed, at least in terms of speakers, so maybe we'll be able to catch up some time. So item number 21, 6 Holloway Road. It's an application with 1-story front and 2-story rear addition. There are 4 variances. And what do we have here? We have a site-specific zoning bylaw, and we have opposition from the neighbor at 116 Burnhamthorpe. Yeah. Perhaps we can hear that. Okay. No building permit for the structure posted outside. Yeah, and that's right. They mentioned that there's a cabana built in it was built in the spring of 2020, sort of on the weekends, and so we'll have to hear about that from the applicant. And we have urban forestry requesting condition number 2 on this as well. The speaker we have is Yevhenia Huck.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi. So I just want to speak about this cabana. We had
Hold on
inspectors
a
from the
second.
city-
Hold on. Can you please introduce yourself first?
Oh, sorry.
Are you?
My name is Yevgenia Hu, and I'm the owner of the property on 6 Holloway Road.
Okay, so we want to hear about your application and to address this issue about the neighbor, about the cabana. Both matters, not just about the cabana. You need to make us a little presentation on that, as well as why your application is worthy of merit. Right? So that's, we don't want, please, you want to start off with the cabana? Start off with the cabana. Tell us about that.
Actually, yes, I'd like to start with the cabana, and it's not a cabana, it's a shed. And we had inspector from the city. His name is Matthew Nikiforuk, who attended our property and did all measurements. And he said that no permit was required for this type of structure.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. You said there's no permit required?
Yeah.
Oh, it's under the size requirement. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and inspector from the city, Matthew Nikiforuk, was attending our place due to complaints from the neighbor.
Okay. So about the application in general and your variances, do committee members have any questions for on that? There are 4 variances: the front lot line, small variance, south side lot line, the side yard setback percentages, and the soffit height is very minor. So are there any questions on the other variances for the applicant? And ma'am, you're aware of urban forestry condition number 2, correct?
Correct.
That's the only condition that city staff is asking you for. So does anyone have any questions, or are you ready for a motion?
If no one has questions, I'll go with the motion.
Okay.
Okay, I find the application to be minor and meeting the 4 tests. I would therefore like to move approval subject to forestry condition number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Comeric, seconder for that motion. Mr. Bellissimo, all in favor? You have unanimous approval. Thank you. Item number 22, 39 Winston Grove. It's an application to legalize and maintain the existing 1-story rear addition and 2nd floor rear balcony and to construct a new front porch. And there are 7 variances. We have a petition in support, a copy of an order to comply, and that's basically all we have. Is John Sibinek there?
Yes, I am.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, committee.
We have a petition in support in order to comply. So what happened here? We're legalizing and maintaining a 1-story rear addition.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, there
as,
were
and the rear balcony and also a new front porch. So how did this get built without a permit, sir?
No, there was a building permit issued in 2001, but what was constructed was modified from that building permit. So first off, there was a front porch that was enclosed that wasn't captured on the original building permit. The second item was the modified footprint of the 1st floor addition and the modified balcony as a result of that 1st floor addition. So these are the primary things that, there was an order to comply issue that identified that we had to resubmit drawings for a new zoning review based on these developments, which we did through the owner's initiative. We've we went prepared for a new zoning review, applied, got the comments, the deficiencies that you've listed there. There's 7 items. And we're here at the Committee of Adjustment. So a lot of these items, like the owner was advised when they purchased this property that everything was in compliance. And it wasn't. Like, there was a lot of outstanding things that were done here without the owner knowing that these deficiencies and improvements were done without approvals.
What about this rear platform that's like
Yeah, I read
8
the
times
staff
the-
report.
9 times
Yeah,
the size
like-
of what's permitted? What is that, first of all, off of it? Is it off of, it's a second story platform? Off of a bed?
It's a second floor platform off the master bedroom. That's what the room that has direct access to that platform.
Okay.
But I realize the square footage is high, but there's also a similar size property right to the rear of the neighbor in the back that although the deck is a lot smaller, it still has a similar overlook. It's very similar. Like it doesn't really, area alone does not mean that, you have an overlook issue. I think there's a lot of things that come into play aside from that. And I think the fact that we've got these 12-foot high cedar hedge, number one, in the rear yard, and they've got mature trees all around, and the fact that we've got 14 neighbors that, are in agreement with this application, I think it just shows how well this new neighbor, when they purchased the property in June of last year, and they've really made good inroads with the neighborhood.
Right, that's are both adjacent? I'm just looking to see, are both adjacent neighbors are on that plan, on that petition?
Yeah. There's something cutting out here.
Okay, it looks, I found, they're both on the list. I don't know about the one, but okay, so it wraps around. I see why it's so big. It sort of wraps around the corner.
Yeah, it wraps around the corner and it's staggered. It's not like it's a full constant width across the rear yard of the of 39 Winston Grove. And I think all these features, like the undulating lines, the symmetry, the fact that this still blends in with the neighborhood and it has proportions that that don't overwhelm the property. I think there's, and I've found examples actually of balconies even greater than 4 square meters in Etobicoke. But I wasn't able to submit it in time for the committee to review, but I do have addresses in case you're interested. But I think that the overlook.
Yeah, I see that you have a lot of support from the neighbors. So let's move on and let's see if anyone else has any questions for you.
I have a question of the applicant, just for clarification.
Yes.
The rear balcony that we're talking about, that's existing as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and it's been there for quite some time.
Well, there's been a building permit since 2001.
Yes.
So I suspect it's been.
So really, it's not. It doesn't have new impact to anybody. It's been there for a long time, and I applaud you on going around and talking to the neighbors to clarify that to them. I mean, that took a lot of courage to let them know that you're going to apply for legalizing something. So I would like to make a motion.
I have a question, Danny, before you go there, I have one more question, if I may.
Go ahead with your question.
Okay, I just want to clarify, the front porch is already built as well as everything else?
Yes.
Because the application actually says to construct, but in fact, it should be saying to legalize and maintain all existing.
That's right.
Front
The reason the reason it was worded like that is because it wasn't on the previous permit set. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that that was not on there. But we're trying to legalize
Okay,
what
no,
was
I
there.
just, I mean, I drove by there yesterday and I saw it was there, so but I just wanted to clarify that.
So, Madam Secretary, should we
Yeah.
reach revising the purpose of the application to match what we've now heard from Mr. Kamarick and the applicant? So it's
What-
legalize and maintain also the front porch, not to construct.
That's correct.
Because if it was to construct a front porch, I wanted to tie it to drawings because of the front setback issue. I wanted that front setback to be addressing the porch only and not give a right to the property owner to do a front setback for the entire house.
I think we should take out the words and to construct. So it should say legalize second floor, rear balcony, and and front porch. So it's all being legalized and maintained. Because Mr. Kamarick just established the front porch is already there. So I'm just suggesting the purpose of the application
It's
is
not an application to construct,
Right.
it's an application to legalize.
But has all of this been done?
Correct.
yes. That's what the last one.
Question of staff. Staff, can we change that wording? I mean, that's gone out to the community.
Well, we can change anything to make it more accurate as long as it doesn't cause any other
No, it
variances.
shouldn't.
Okay, then in that case, I'll support that, that wording then. I just want to make sure that we could change it without having issues about the fact that the notice is different than
We
what
often
we're
change the
approving.
purpose of the application at committee. It's just if it
Okay, that's
doesn't
fine.
affect the variances, it's more reflective of what we're doing here, and I think it should be changed. Thank you, Mr.
That's fine. Staff
Yeah.
is saying that's fine, so let's go with that.
So
Can
I just
someone
want to say to the applicant, our wording is based on what you've applied for and shown on your plan. So if you don't show it as existing, then
he explained why he did it that way.
Yeah,
I know
no,
it's,
yeah.
Part of
the
the
re-
other application, so
it's
an
a bit
honest mistake.
misleading though.
It's an honest mistake.
But when I'm looking at the proposed wording or the purpose, there's nothing about a front porch. It's about a front addition.
Barb, I'm reading.
Well,
what
the
it
site
says.
plan,
Barb, it says
Construction.
to
the site plan
legalize and
runs
maintain.
into-
To legalize and maintain the existing one-story rear addition, second-story rear balcony, and front porch.
No, and to construct a
I
new,
understand.
To
Take it
construct.
out and to construct, because we've just heard,
right.
based on your question and the answer given, that it's already there. So all we're saying is, and let's not belabor this point, just take out the word and to construct a new. So it's just clarified that all three items
So legalize.
are already just being legalized and maintained. So we shouldn't have to spend minutes on that. Can you please mute Danny, because we're getting
He is
feedback.
muted.
It's not.
Well,
It
no
wasn't
one
a
has yet,
motion yet.
because Danny was about to, but
I shut him down.
yeah, to ask that very good question that we now changed the purpose. So now that we're back there, let's have a motion.
So
I would feel, sorry, unless staff says I'm incorrect, I would feel comfortable just say that we approve all the variances before us and find that the variances are minor in nature and that it is, the proposal is desirable for the community.
I have
I
an
don't
issue, I
think-
have an issue with that, Danny, because if that's gonna be,
Okay.
if that's gonna be your motion, that I would propose a friendly amendment to tie variance 3 to the site plan.
Can I just mention that
no, the
site
members
plan
are in a
indicates-
motion. You can't speak now.
Because
That's, I mean, I think if we tie it to the site plan, I'm happy with that because the proposal is as it is in front of us today. So I'll agree with your friendly amendment. Then let's
Enter the event panelist numeric password, followed by pound.
Was Danny trying to do a motion before we shut down? For item 22, we're just trying to wrap that up.
Hello?
Okay, Danny, are you going to do a motion? Do you want me to try one, or where are we at?
You go ahead if you like. I think we were agreeing, you want to tie it to a site plan. I'm okay with that in regards to the front porch.
If we take out the words "to construct," then I don't need to tie it to a site plan.
If staff says we can do that, I'm okay with that as well. It's an existing condition as far as what I could see.
Exactly. I just don't want them to have blanket approval to be able to move the entire house into that encroachment, right? So,
I understand what you're saying. So either tie it to a site plan or take out to construct, which is basically approving an existing condition.
yep.
Okay,
Okay, so let's amend the purpose of the application, and I will move, it's minor, it's appropriate, meets the 4 test. I'd like to move approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Sabet. Okay, our next item is item number 2371 Lunnes Road. It's an application to construct a one-story rear addition and a new covered front porch. There are 2 variances, and we have no objection from transportation and 11 letters of support. Urban Forestry asking for condition number 2. We have 1 registered speaker, the agent, Saba Al Mathno. Are you with us, sir? Saba
Yes,
Al
I am with
Mathno?
you. Yes, I am with you.
Welcome.
Saba.
Thank you.
I just introduced the application, very straightforward. Other than urban forestry, no conditions from comments from city staff or objections from neighbors. So, and you have a lot of support letters. So let's just see if committee members have any questions for you or if we're ready for a motion. Committee members,
Sure.
any questions for the agent?
No.
Nope.
Okay, anyone ready to make a motion?
Sure. I find the application to be minor and meeting the 4 tests, therefore I'd like to move approval, subject to forestry condition number 2.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Alderson. All in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you.
Thank you all.
That was easy. Okay, item number 24, 2 Cobbler Crescent. This is an application to construct a 1-story front addition and a 2-story east side addition. There are 3 variances. Urban Forestry is asking for a refusal. Transportation has no objection, and staff is requesting as a condition of approval. Planning staff would like the site to be tied to be built substantially in accordance with the site plan dated June 24, 2020. And the agent is Daniel Allen. Mr. Allen, are you with us?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, sir, you're aware of the planning condition and the
Yes,
transportation?
I already have.
Yeah, transportation and forestry. Forestry is looking for a refusal. Can you explain what the issue is with forestry?
It's just one tree just that has to be removed where we propose in the driveway, and I saw the condition saying that if we have to remove, we have to replace with another tree by applying for an application and paying such fee, which is not a problem. We can always move it away from the driveway or plant another one.
Okay, so you
Close
understand,
to
yeah.
So the
So you understand you have to apply through city council for this?
Yes, yeah, we plan to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Just one tree.
Okay, so other than is there any other issues, committee members have any questions for the agent?
I have the transportation raised concerns based on a site plan submitted June the 6th. So didn't they get the revised site plan submitted June 24th, 2020? I'm just wondering if that's accurate or not.
There's a report saying they have no objection.
Yeah, that's what
Okay, I guess I didn't see that.
yeah, it's their letter, August 31st memo. Okay, any other questions? Or are we ready for
I just
motion?
want to come back to the driveway. So what is the hardship in keeping the driveway to 5.52 meters?
It's the owner is putting a double car garage, so we just are gonna extend the driveway with the same width as the garage, so it looks uniform and nice.
Okay, but he could have it narrower at the tree point and then have it widen at the garage, right?
But ready tree is, even if we narrow it, it's still gonna affect the tree.
Okay.
Yeah, with the tree, we're just gonna move it maybe 6 feet along that same line, but away from the driveway. We'll just plant another one. It's not a problem. Get enough space.
Well, it's a problem for forestry.
I can deal with them, yeah.
Okay.
So you're saying that the tree would, even if you weren't making the driveway wider, you would still be impacted by the new addition?
Yeah, if we make the driveway narrower, yes, it will still impact.
Okay.
That tree.
Forestry is asking as an alternative, not for you to plant another tree, but to try to protect the existing one. Are you aware of that?
Yes. But protecting it now.
Actually, one of the things they say here is, according to the submitted site plan, the stamped June 6th, the proposed driveway is generally the same width as the proposed garage portion of the front addition to the existing dwelling.
Oh.
Anyway.
Because based on the drawing, I'm looking at the trees in the driveway.
Yeah.
On the boulevard side.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do say they have no objections to it, but they do go on to say that it's the same width,
bizarre.
generally the same width. They do conclude that they have no objections.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time. I can't pull up the drawings right now, so I'm just going to go with what we got. I'm willing to move a motion for approval, subject to forestry condition number 1, and subject to the application being in accordance with site plans submitted as of June 24th, 2020.
A seconder for Mr. Comeric's motion. Ms. Alderson, all in favor? It's unanimous. You have your approval, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Okay. Item number 25, 213 Bicknell Avenue. It's an application to legalize and maintain the existing rear shed. And there are 2 variances. We have a covering letter from the agent David Stickney, who is registered to speak on this matter. That's all we have, no communications, no letters of opposition. And we have John Guglielmo, 44 Yarrow Road, registered to speak. Is that the neighbor, I take it? Okay. Mr. Stickney.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Stickney. How are you? We have your letter here.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Have your letter. Is there anything?
I outlined as.
Okay.
No, tried to make the complete argument in the letter,
Right.
so
Yep.
I'm open for any questions.
Yeah, okay. Okay, the garage is along the shared property line. So, Mr. Guglielmo, perhaps we can hear from him. I do see that you end your letter with an apology that construction had commenced without knowledge and understanding of the requirements for a building permit. Small sheds do not require a building permit, and the location of that construction encroached partially on city property. Okay, so the proposal is to move any existing construction to a more suitable location on the site plan. So thank you for that. Let's hear from Mr. Guglielmo and see what his concerns are and what property he's involved, where he lives. Mr. Guglielmo? John Guglielmo? Paul, do we have him registered too?
Yes, he's registered, and we did do a sound check on him earlier. It shows that he is in attendance.
Okay. Okay, if he's not, maybe he stepped away, or what do you suggest we do? Hold it down?
Hold it down.
I don't know where he lives, where his just looking at the
Hello, John Guglielmo.
I see where Yarrow Road is. So he is right.
Hello, John.
Can you hear me?
He's behind. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can now.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you mute, Dan?
I'm getting some static. Can I speak?
You can try, yeah.
Basically, I live at 44 Yarrow, so my property just abuts 213 to the east.
Yep.
The existing building actually sits adjacent or abuts the property line, so it is not where the proposed shed is on the plan survey.
Right.
And does sit on city land.
So I think they're proposing to move it. We'll hear from Mr. Sir. Have you checked the file and read his letter of what they're doing? They're just going to be moving it.
So my objection is it's not to legalize it and maintain an existing rear shed. It's to actually have it moved.
Right. That's correct, because the existing one is not where it should be. Okay, perhaps Mr. Stickney can confirm that in his rebuttal. So that's your concern, just with how it was worded, that it's not the existing one, but it's going to be revised as per the application.
Well, my original concerns, non-technical, and then I'll go back to technical. But my original concerns are there was one garage. I've lived at 44 Yarrow for 25 years. There was one garage at 213 Bicknell. A second one was constructed. Now we're constructing a shed. If you look at the overall survey plan, you can see that there is probably less than 25 to 30% green space left on the entire lot. So I wasn't pleased with that. If we go into the technical concerns, my worries were that the fence was too high on the back because it's about 9 feet. And when I looked at the survey, I saw that half of the building was actually on city land. When I purchased my house, I was told that I was not allowed to build on city land.
Correct. Okay, so let's hear from Mr. Stickney in response that, in fact, to confirm that it's not where it is and it's going to be moved, and that's reflective of the two variances, not where it is now, but where it's going to be. Because right now it encroaches. Okay. Unless there's something you want to add to that?
Mr. Chairman, if I can respond to that.
Yes.
The owner of the property was unaware of where the property line was when he started constructing, and received an order to comply for the structure that's there. It's either take that structure down or move it. And our proposal was officially to move it to a location that required the 2 minor setback variances, so that he quite literally will pick it up and move it.
Okay, well.
So what we're asking for today is an approval for the shed in the location as shown on the site plan. And I guess it's academic in one sense that it's moving an existing structure. But it just happens to be the same structure that would be in the new location.
Okay, so again, just like the previous application we're dealing with, we maybe have an issue that we should be changing the purpose of the application, that it's not to legalize and maintain, it's to move and maintain, or move and legalize and maintain, that it's not where it is. It's not maintain, it's to move and legalize. And maybe that can be, Madam Secretary Treasurer, do you believe that that's, because we're not, he's right, Mr. Guglielmo is correct, we're not legalizing a maintain situation.
Tie it to the site plan.
Well, the difficulty is that applicants are supposed to be submitting proper surveys showing accurate site conditions, and in this case, we do not have an accurate survey that shows the existing condition. So we have no idea where they're moving it from
So I'm
or
not
to.
trying to paint, I'm just saying now that we
I know. I'm
should
just
we
getting
change the purpose
frustrated.
here?
We can't say to legalize and move. We can say to permit a rear shed.
Yeah.
That's fine.
As shown on these but not where it is. And
Yeah.
just a comment from Mr. Stickney, and I assume you weren't involved, you did say it was kind of funny that they started construction not knowing where the lot line is. Obviously not a good idea. You always want to know where your property line is when you.
Correct.
So variance 1 will also have to be changed to say the shed will be located.
Yeah. And again, in number 2, and will be located 0 meters from the lot, not are. Or these will encroach and will be located. Maybe, you know. Okay.
Can we also tie it to the site plan so that
Make a motion.
there's no
Yeah.
about that?
Substantially in accordance condition. Do you want to make a motion? to that
Sure.
effect?
I'll move approval so, as amended, and subject or as per the site plan submitted. I don't know what the date is.
To be built substantially in accordance with is the standard wording, and then we just have
Well,
to
except
figure out the date.
it's already built.
Well, but it's being moved. Because we're sort of pretending it's not, we're saying to permit, so let's just say.
Okay, I would just say as per, or located as per the site plan,
Dated,
whatever it is.
Yeah.
My screen's gone blank, so I can't pull up the date. Sorry.
I think they usually was,
Yes.
yeah, and I think they usually the word substantially in accordance, because it can't be as per. It's,
Okay, substantially in accordance
the word.
with the site plan submitted as of, please fill in the
Yeah.
date, and subject to forestry condition 1.
Thank you. Seconder? Laura? You can't see. Absent, and so it's unanimously approved, sir. Thank you, Mr. Stickney. Thank you, Mr. Guglielmo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2684 Yorkview Drive. We have a revised application. It's to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. We have revisions in yellow. Variance 3 has been removed. Variance 2 and 1 have been modified. There are 4 variances. And we have a zoning waiver, and that's all we have. Yeah, we have plans, sir. We have everything that was submitted. There's no comments from area neighbors or from city departments on this application. And we have, yeah, also other than forestry or variant conditions 1 and 2. And we have registered as agent Jim Levac. Mr. Levac.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of committee. Yeah, just so committee's aware, we had an updated zoning review done on August the 25th, which you should have. And during that time, we were contacted by Ms. James in the planning department to see if we could just slightly reduce the length of the building, which was what variance number 1 is. So we've gone ahead and we've done that and submitted plans, and they're happy with it now. So that variance should actually, instead of being 18.14 meters,
Yeah, it's
should
17.
be.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, we
variance
have
number
that.
2.
We have the 17.99 and the
Yeah, that's
FSI
correct.
is 0.59 at 291.84. So that has been highlighted and changed on our
Okay.
plans, as
Oh,
well as
okay.
as well as the
Yeah,
elimination of the.
as a result of that one change, variance number 2 falls off.
Well, you have a different number. You're looking at the zoning review. It's variance number 3 drops off the depth. Your number
okay,
is
yeah.
I'm looking
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
numbers on the variance notice, the zoning, the notice. You're
Yeah,
looking at the zoning
okay.
notice.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So we know what's before us. I don't think we need a presentation. Let's just see if anyone has any questions for you. There are no neighbors, no city departments other than urban forestry conditions. Anyone have a question for Mr. Levac? Are we ready for a motion?
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Danny.
I find that the application is minor in nature and is desirable for the neighborhood and community, and support the variances as per the waiver. I don't have the date on here either. I just have the waiver 1, 2, and 4. Number 3 is dropped, right?
Yes,
Just
as
tell it to
revised.
revise.
Just say as revised.
As revised.
As revised, there's no date on what I see here. Okay, I'm assuming this is what planning has seen that the applicant has made reference to.
Okay, I'll second that, subject to forestry conditions 1 and 2.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And
Mr.
add the
Chair.
forestry conditions. Thank you.
All in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next application is item number 27401 NORFINCH Drive. This is an application to construct a one-story east side addition. There's 3 variances. And planning has conditions of approval, as does transportation. Registered to speak on this is Jan Timstra, agent, and the Bonadies family who reside at 256 Hulmar Drive.
Hello.
Mr. Timstra, are you there?
Yes, this is Jan Teamster speaking.
Okay, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so this is a modest addition here. This is a, have you seen the conditions being recommended by community planning and transportation?
Yes, I have. We've
It's
been
with the
working with the
landscaping,
planning
yeah.
department. One is we agreed to the 3-meter setback to the landscape plan, which is days ago, to the planning department. That included repairs to the fence.
Madam Secretary Treasurer, on my sheet
plant
here,
trees
excuse me,
for
sir,
the,
can you just hang on for a second?
There's one garbage bin.
Just hang on for a second, please. The conditions recommended by zoning, by community planning, my number 2, I don't know about yours, it's completely obliterated. There's nothing there. I just see Director, Community Planning, Etobicoke York District. Does everyone have the same thing here?
No.
You can read the second condition.
Yeah.
Oh, here it came on. That's weird. Where it said the owner should submit a revised site plan.
Yeah.
That was all blank. And when I reviewed it last night, and then again, now it's back. Okay, so we have the conditions there, and we have the transportation conditions. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the agent? Or we have some people from Hulmar registered to speak. So we'll have to say. Okay, Mr. Timster, we'd like to add anything, or can we perhaps just hear first from the neighbor to see what their concerns are?
I'd be glad to hear what the neighbors have to say.
Okay, and in the meantime, you're okay with the planning and transportation conditions, correct?
Danny, you have to stay muted when you're not speaking.
I
Thank you.
My hand was up for a question. The chairman didn't hear me.
Well, I didn't hear you. If you have your hand up, it doesn't make noise. Right? I'm looking at my computer, so you have to sort of let me know. But okay, so you have a question for the applicant, but then we'll hear from the neighbors.
No, I'm fine with the hearing from the neighbors first.
Okay. Iolanda and Elizabeth Bonades, 256 Hulmar Drive.
Mr. Chair, we had Yolanda and Elizabeth initially checked in. They no longer appear to be online.
Okay, I don't even know, I can't see on my location map where Hulmar is in relation
Behind,
to
it's directly
Norfinch.
behind.
It's directly behind? Okay.
So they back onto the property.
Oh, I see.
Hello, call-in user. Could you please identify yourself?
Oh, I see.
Hello, call-in user. Can you please identify yourself?
We have their phone numbers here, or one phone number, 661.
Call-in user starting with 647-501. Can you please identify yourself?
That's not bad unless they're... Okay, well, it's a one-story rear addition, and they're in the rear, so I guess and they haven't written into us, so it's an east side addition. It's the east of the... Can someone try? There's a number here given. Can someone either try emailing them and or calling them?
Do you want to move on to the next one?
Okay, let's hold that one down. Well, in the meantime, we've already sort of just hear from the neighbor at this point. So we'll go to item number 28, 2440 Finch Avenue West. And it's an application to convert the existing building into a convenience store and to construct 3 gas bars. There's one variance being the minimum permitted lot depth for a gas station. And we have one variance, as I just stated, and planning has no comment or concern. And they've advised there's a associated site plan application that is being proceeded with as well. And the agent is Curtis Hatfield. No one else is registered, just the agent. Mr. Hatfield, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Okay, so there is only one variance for this, the depth of a lot with a gas station on it, and you're about half.
Yeah.
You know, so what's behind that? Is that for just buffering?
I'm not sure what the exact intent of it, but it was a specific bylaw just referring to gas stations in particular, and we're requesting relief from that.
And planning.
We actually are.
Yeah. Planning is okay with it. They've advised they have no further concerns, right?
Okay. Yep.
They originally, I think, had some concerns, and then they've, this matter has been around for a while, and then they wrote back, I recall, and said they have no further concerns.
Yeah, we've been in the site plan approval process for a while now, so.
Yeah. Okay, and they'll not have to deal with anything. Okay, so committee members, any questions for Mr. Hatfield, or are we ready for a motion?
I'd like to make a motion for approval, find the variance minor in nature.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bellissimo. Seconder, Ms. Alderson, all in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to item number 29, 1683 Jane Street. It's an application to construct a new vehicles fuel station. Okay, we have 2 in a row that are similar. This one has a lot more variances, 9 variances. Transportation advises they have no objection, and planning I think has no comment. I have one question, and the speaker on this is Robert Gibson, and I have Mr. Gibson. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So I hope I've clearly summarized what this application is about. There are 9 variances. I don't know if there's a difference between a gas bar and a new vehicle fuel station. If you can, and then as well, I just noticed something I don't think I've ever seen before. I don't quite understand what a daylight triangle is. In variance 4 says it's under the old bylaw 7625, which is either a site-specific, I don't know if it's an old one, but it's still here. It says the minimum required distance of a gas pump from a daylight triangle is 3 meters, in which case it'll be located 1.9 meters from a daylight triangle. What is a daylight triangle?
A daylight triangle
Daylight-
is you have a corner lot, and they do a triangle on the corners to make sure that there aren't sight lines and that there's easy access
Okay.
when you're turning. It's an old thing.
Yeah, I've been on committee for 20 years. I've never seen that, so I've never even heard of that. Interesting. You learn something every day. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Gibson, would you like to add anything to what we have before us here?
No, but if you have any further questions, I'll be willing to answer.
We have our, typical comprehensive planning letter from your firm in quite detail. So I don't know if there's anything, committee members have any questions for the planner/agent, or are we ready for a motion?
I'm good. I believe it's an appropriate use. I think it's a better use than what's there now. I believe it meets the 4 test, and I would therefore move approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamarick.
Happy to second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Unanimous approval. Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
Thank you.
Okay. We have one where I guess we're ready to go back to number, was it 27? Are we ready to go back to 27 just to finish that up?
Not yet. They may not be able to connect. They're having
Okay.
issues.
Okay. So item number 30, 123 16th Street. Registered speaker Alex Marrero, and this is an application to construct a 1-story rear addition, a 2nd-story addition above the existing dwelling, and a rear yard deck. There are 4 variances, and we have opposition from 121 16th Street. Or actually, it wasn't, when you read the letter, it's basically not an objection letter. They look like they just set out some questions. They said they can't read blueprints, determine how close their home is. Mr. Marrero, did your client or you not, speak to the neighbors, or?
Yes, actually, we spoke with him this morning as well. And if you look at it's no variance for setback on that side. If you look at it, our variance is to the north side, which is to keep the existing house. But to the south side, which is the neighbor from 121, there is not a variance. I'm sorry, I should have said good afternoon to everyone before I start talking. But that's the scenario right now. He wasn't aware that is no variances on his side of the property.
But so sir, he sent in this email on September the 8th, not too long ago, but a week ago. Did you or your client take the initiative at least to call him, email him? He gave 3 phone numbers and his email address, because the committee obviously...
we spoke to him directly.
Yeah, because staff was not going to call him in response to this. They get the letter, they mark it as an objection letter, even though it's not an objection letter. He just seems like he had questions, and he wanted to get some information.
Correct. And if you look at it, none of the variances that we're asking today refers to the neighbor to 121, to the south side. We're looking for variances to the existing conditions on the north side, which is 0.45 meters from the side lot line.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I understand.
But it's
Okay. So perhaps you or your client, assuming you get your approval, can at least go ring his doorbell or call him or send him an email and say, it doesn't affect you because the side yard setback is the other side, not on your side. So there's no chance.
Correct.
We
spoke to him this morning.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay. So let's see if committee members have any questions for you.
I have a question. What is your current what is your current eave setback on the north side?
On the north side, I have 0.1 right now. And I can do the same on the new variants. Like I think when I got 0.44, with my overhang and my eastraft, I can change that variance from 0 to 0.1, which is the existing.
Yeah,
I don't have to have such a large overhang.
Okay, I don't want it to be any worse than what it is now, is what where I'm going.
And I understand that completely. It's the overhang from the roof line plus the east-trap. So I'd be happy to propose the east-trap located at the north lot line to be 0.1.
0.1.
If you would like to, correct. If you can change that, because, yeah.
Okay, so you're proposing to amend variance number 3 then?
Correct, to 0.1 meters.
Okay, done.
And I don't know if you have any questions on the next one. The number 4, for example, because we are keeping the existing bungalow and we're keeping the same underside of footings. In order, the existing bungalow has a 6-foot ceiling. In order for us to put a minimum or 8-foot ceiling in the basement, I have to have that extra height in the main floor.
That's okay.
It's a renovation on an existing bungalow.
Okay, is someone ready to make a motion?
Danny, no questions?
And we are urban forestry condition 1.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll move it, considering that it's minor, it meets the 4 tests, as amended. So we're amending variance 3 to be 0.1 with the forestry condition number 1, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamarick. Seconder? Ms. Alderson, all in favor? You have your approval unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Just to clarify.
Thank you very much.
Variance number 3, it's the proposed eaves will be located 0.1 meters from the north lot line, and the 0.15 from the south lot line will be maintained in the variance, correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I just didn't want to go from a situation of 0.1 to 0. I never liked 0 anyway, so.
Okay, 27, the setback is at the rear where they're proposing the 1-story addition, so I think it's important we hear from that neighbor.
Mr. Chair, I have them on the line.
Awesome.
Okay, that's great.
Awesome, so it's...
401 NORFINCH.
Yeah, no, I know. The name of the people are the Yolanda and Elizabeth Bonadies.
I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad we have you back because we want to hear what
I'm glad it's working.
Okay, so you're at you're behind the
256.
property, yeah, and that's the variance of the 1-story addition they're proposing is at the rear on the east side, which is what you back onto them. So, what's your concern with this?
That it's going to affect our yard. It's going to take a portion of our yard.
What do you mean take a portion? It's not on your property.
Well, they want to extend the property, correct?
Correct, but not onto your property. It's just closer than it's allowed. Than it's okay.
But,
yeah. So basically, let's just go. Let me go to the notice for a second. Okay, so the setback. There's a drive aisle. There's a space. Let me see if I'm on the right application here. Yeah. It says a minimum, yeah, because you're residential and you're behind the industrial building. It says a minimum
Correct.
7.5 wide landscape strip is required along a lot line abutting a residential zone or residential apartment zone. And here the proposed strip is 1.8 meters wide, where it's supposed to be 7.5 meters wide. Do you know what the nature of the business is at 401 NORFINCH? What type?
well, originally it was supposed to be just warehouses.
Yes.
And then it changed owners so many times. So right now, this one wants baby furniture.
Okay, so it's like
and
a ware.
extended. Sorry, go ahead.
So they're either distributing or making, manufacturing, or they're shipping. It's a shipping.
I don't know if
yeah.
they're manufacturing.
Or
I don't know
just
if they're selling, but they want to extend the width and the height, I believe. That's what I understand. I'm not sure if I'm right.
I think that the variance that affects you is that it's too close. There's supposed to be a 7.5 wide landscape strip, buffer strip, and they're not
Right.
They're not having that. They're having 1.8 meters. So we have to go back. So that you feel is too big of an impact on you from the impact of the commercial industrial use to your residential use to your backyard.
Right.
Do you know how big the
It's
strip
gonna,
is?
it's because in the back, they have the docks, the loading and
That's right.
unloading
Yeah.
docks. And when the trailers come, if they're too big, they hit the fence.
Yeah.
And the fence was already damaged once.
Okay.
And
Surprising.
the owner fixed it.
Okay, so because what they're doing is they're bringing it that much closer to where
Is there a
they're supposed to be
landscape strip
that
there?
landscape. Do you know if the landscape strip complies now? I'm going to ask the agent that. But do you know, is it 7.5 meters now, or is it already less than that?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll ask the agent. Okay.
Planning is asking.
Okay. And I'm not the only neighbor that faces that lot. There's other people. My neighbor next door too.
Yes.
There's a couple of us that, because
no
it's a whole strip.
Yes. Okay. We'll see what planning is suggesting. He's asking for 1.8 meters, where he has to have 7.5. Planning is saying it should be 3 meters. They feel that's sufficient. One of the they've asked that the landscape strip, instead of being 1.8 meters abutting, would be 3 meters as opposed to 7.5 meters.
Is there a landscape
So-
strip there now?
Is there a strip? Is there some separation between your rear yard and their shipping? Is there like a landscape?
No,
strip of grass?
there's only a little bit of a grass, like a ditch,
Okay.
and that's it.
So
And
it's not
then
it's
the
not
yard-
like 9 or 10
the-
feet.
No, it's very close. That's why when the big trailers were coming in, they would park really close to the fence.
Uh-huh.
And one time it knocked it down, not completely, but it touched it. They have a hard time maneuvering the 18-wheeler trucks.
Okay, so they're asking for a bigger landscape strip than the applicant wants, and where they're supposed to have 7.5 meters, they want 1.8 meters, and the city is saying you have to give at least 3 meters. Do you feel 3 meters or 10 feet would be sufficient?
No, we don't have an inch.
My mother says, no, we don't have enough for 3 meters. It's, I don't know, I didn't go back there and
No,
measure. 'cause I
not
have
on
a
your
fence.
property, on their property, that they would have to give 10 feet landscape.
But they have other buildings right next door.
Okay, well, we're just dealing with this building now.
Yeah,
just
I
dealing
don't
with
know.
401.
I don't know what,
The other buildings aren't
Yeah.
before us. The other buildings, I agree, if it's the same owner or the other buildings along there, we're just looking at the 401 building now. 401 North.
there's no space for making it bigger the back.
Okay. The issue is they would have to make their strip bigger, not you. You don't have to give you can go right to your lot line.
Yeah, but if to make it their strip bigger, they gotta fill the ditch that's there, and it hits right, and it goes right next to the fence. There's like
Okay, is the fence on the
1 inch
property line?
apart from,
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry?
Is the fence currently on the property line?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, so
My
you know
mother
what?
says yes.
Yeah, 1 feet the difference from the fence,
No,
the
yeah,
building, yeah. La fence belongs the factory.
Okay.
E la fence nostra ci sta un feet.
Okay, so
Okay,
we'll hear from
there's-
the agent. The fence is on the property line, and it's their fence.
Yes, that's what
Yes.
she said.
Okay, thank you very
And
much.
there's not a problem.
Okay,
I
let's
hope I
stay on the line and listen to the applications. I'm going to ask now the agent.
Keep going on.
We'll go back to the agent. Can you get into this story about this strip? What's there now? Is there a strip there? Is it landscape strip? Is it just a ditch? Is it 7.5? Is it 1.8? Are you prepared to do 3 meters, or could you do more than 3 meters? Or are you sticking that you only want to give the 1.8 meters?
Hi. We've been working with the planning department. We first proposed 1.8, made it 2.8, but we agreed to do 3 meters landscape strip along the back.
What's there
Now,
now?
it varies from about 3 feet to about 6 feet now to the fence. The fence is actually on the owner's property, not on the neighbor's property.
Yes, yes.
There's a
but-
chain link fence that's on the neighbor's property for some of them.
Okay, so
So the
what's
narrow-
there now?
So how wide is the narrowest part of the strip currently?
At the southern part, well, At the southern part of it, it's about 4 feet for part of it.
Yeah,
And in the northern part, there's about actually 6 to 7 feet at the north end of it. So one of the things is the building, it's the addition building requires a 15-meter setback, which we meet. What is required is a 7.5-meter landscape space between a residential space and a commercial space.
Yeah.
Thing is, these buildings were built long before the zoning bylaws were changed to provide that 7.5 meters.
Yeah.
The difficulty with the full 7.5 meters is even if we didn't do the addition, we still would not be able to turn the trucks around.
That's
we
my,
went to
yeah, that's the
7.5.
point. You know, they didn't have that years ago, but they also didn't have 53-foot tractor trailers. So are you trying to accommodate 53-foot tractor trailers? I guess you're distributing baby furniture there? I guess the uses can change.
Yeah, basically, the company Lida is a distribution company that specializes in health and baby products. They don't manufacture anything. They don't deal with food.
Okay. But the issue is, so what's this structure being built for? It further protrudes. I guess it's not where the shipping lanes are. Is it some kind of a what is the purpose of the 1-story addition?
Oh, basically it's just warehouse.
Okay, but you already have a big warehouse.
Yeah, but it's an expanding company, so they just want more. They just need more space.
Okay, at the expense of the shipping at the rear, I guess.
We agreed with the transportation department. The loading area is still in the same bay that's there now.
Okay.
We're not. There's no on the addition itself. There is no loading bay except for one small bay to do panel trucks.
Right, because where they're
the
putting
large
the
trucks.
addition is where it gets on the angle. There's less distance to the rear to the lot line. So I understand. So you're prepared
so
to do a
basically
3-meter strip, which is contained in the city department memo, which is like 10 feet, as opposed to 7.5 meters, which is required, and as compared to what's there now, which is just a small ditch.
Yes.
So is the neighbor going to see an improvement of the situation actually from what's there now? Because there'll be a landscape strip.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is we agreed with the planning department to repair the fence, to sod the landscape strip, to look at planting some trees along the back there.
Okay, so there's a site plan application going on together with this?
Yeah, I sent a revised site plan. Unfortunately, I didn't get it in time to submit it to the committee.
Yeah, that's one of the conditions, showing the 3-meter landscape strip and a letter of credit. So, okay, any further questions for the agent or for the neighbor for that matter? Or are we ready for a motion?
I have questions of the agent.
Yes.
A bit confused about your addition and what it's for. It's a 1-story addition. It looks like it's the same roof height as the existing. Is that correct?
No, it's a little high. It's about 5 feet higher than the existing.
It's higher than the existing. Okay. So I'm looking at the east elevation, which is the rear, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And so what we're seeing now is just the addition. We can't see beyond that point, correct?
The left-hand side of that elevation is existing.
Yeah. So, but behind the addition, there's also an existing as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that door, you label the other doors as existing doors, and then there's a door there, a large door. You're not even labeling that, but that looks like a door. Is that correct?
That is a door for panel trucks.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about before. Is there a loading dock, or is that grade difference that the truck backs up to and it'll meet the level of the truck?
The floor is the level of the trucks.
Okay, so it's the level of the trucks. Your site plan doesn't really show any turning circles, how trucks get in and out of there.
That's actually part of the agreement. That's part of the agreement with the transportation services to provide it.
Yeah, we don't see that. So is that like a dead end in that corner? Is that what happened? I'm not sure how trucks get in and out of there.
Is that our concern? We have to leave transportation to deal with turning circles and that type of stuff.
No, but it justifies the addition. I just still ask my question. Is that a dead end for the trucks?
Which corner?
The addition corner.
The northeast corner?
I'm assuming that's northeast, yes.
No, the trucks can actually turn. They either go back out. They would go back the same way they came, or they would actually go around the addition between the two buildings at 245, the north building.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that's how they get around. Okay,
Yes.
very good. Thank you. That answers my questions.
Okay.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions for the agent or the neighbor? Are we ready for a motion?
Okay, I find the application to be minor and meeting the four tests. I'd like to therefore move approval, subject to a number of conditions, planning conditions as outlined, planning condition 1, 2, and 3, transportation conditions 1 and 2.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamarick. Who was seconded for that motion? Okay, Laura Alderson. Danny is not
Danny's
showing
gone.
right now. He was in, so all in favor?
Danny will be marked as absent.
Okay. Okay, it's now.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
We can't see you.
Can't see you.
You're in
Oh,
favor
I can
of
see
that?
myself on the screen. Okay, so I have
See
to
you now.
do it immediately. I voted in favor of that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it's past 3 o'clock. We can now get started with the 3 o'clock agenda items. Item number 31
Mr.
is
Chair, we
39
haven't-
Advance Road.
We haven't gone through to see if they're all here. Do the members want to take a break
Like
while
a
we
5-minute
just
break?
quickly
Okay.
go through them?
5-minute break? Okay.
Also, I note that transportation is requesting a deferral of
On
item
number 39
31.
advance, maybe we
First
can
one,
let them go.
yeah. So I don't know if you want to speak to the agent about the issue. Well, we'll have to deal with it when he. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
6, 7 items left. Okay. Awesome.
Do you need a break?
Hello, Mark, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great, and you're the agent for 39 Advance Road?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
I can't call up. I think I've overloaded my
Hello, Simon, are you there?
memory on